Edo government on Wednesday 26 April 2023 announced say it don distribute 3.3 million books to 848 primary schools and 306 junior secondary schools for the state during the unveiling of the book as part of the activities to mark the Edo Education Week for Benin City. Governor Godwin Obaseki wey tok for the event come tok say many people don backlash and criticize im government direct for social media despite efforts wey the government don make to make things work for the state, and say you no go see any stories about how im don improve and transform the school system for the state, and dem continue to dey say why im dey waste all dis money to buy books for children, say whether na the books dem go chop. Obaseki come still say some people for the state no get interest about the future at all, and say experience for the last 1 to 2 years for the education sector don teach us say dem no go succeed to spoil the plan wey im get for education.
When we started this journey about 5-6 years ago, we were clear in our minds that what made Edo great and what has made us great as a people through generations is our ability to acquire knowledge. So if 5-6 centuries ago, we could build the kind of moat systems you see surrounding the city today, which is one of mankind's largest defense system in history. If we could create the kind of artworks we did centuries ago, it meant that we've always been a people whose development and progress is hinged on knowledge and education. The only unfortunate thing was we did not learn the art of writing. Otherwise, we will not be where we are today. So for us as a people, learning, education is part of our DNA. Unfortunately, the chain was broken, particularly so in the last 3 decades. So when we came into office, it was clear to us that we had to reconnect that chain. And reconnecting the chain meant single-mindedness, meant focus. And I thank God that I was able to garner people of like minds who are committed to reforms, who are committed to joining me to work to make sure that we had the change that we desired. Edo Best has been acclaimed a success. Edo Best is still work in progress. We've done Edo Best. We're now in the next phase, which Edo Best is, which is Edo Best 2.0. This is the first time I'm coming to inspect books, because I take it for granted. But it is significant. This is important. It's important because of the decision we took last year to ensure that we disarticulate junior from senior school and bring junior school into the basic school system. And I am so glad that the chairman of SUBEB and her team bought into this idea and have done everything beyond my imagination and expectation within the time they've done to make it happen. When you talk about educational reforms, people just focus on the infrastructure. In the beginning of Edo Best, we focused on teachers. We focused on pedagogy. We focused on community participation, which were great foundations. Why did we do all of this? Because we wanted the children to learn. So our focus now has moved from the foundational stage to now the real purpose of why we've done what we did in the last 5-6 years. Are the children learning? For the children to learn, what must we do? Do we have instructional materials to help the teachers impart knowledge on these children so that these children can learn? That's why we have spent the resources which we have spent to purchase and create instructional materials for the new basic education system we have today, which starts from primary 1 to JSS 3. It's a feat. It's not been easy. The 2 points I want to address. First, which the TTL raised, The first is, how do we ensure that learning continues? We've started. Thanks to you, thanks to the World Bank. We really appreciate your effort and concern. And as you can see, my people are very smart. My teachers are very smart. Our education managers are very smart. Whatever you teach them to do, they will do it beyond your expectation. The second issue you raised of sustainability is more challenging. Sometimes you go online and you see the attacks on me and my government. You ask, if the governor is doing all these things these people are saying he's doing, why is there so much attack on him? I'm sure if you go on most of the blogs, you will not see any story about what we're doing, about the improvements we've made in our schools, about how we've translated, our school system into learning systems. You will not see it. It's part of the reform process. There, unfortunately, is a group of politicians like me who refuse to do this, what we're doing, for more than three decades, for over 2 generations. They are angry. So if we don't sustain, the threat is from them. They are waiting, let Obaseki go and they'll kill it. Why are you spending wasting all this money to buy books for children? Now books we go chop. They're not interested in the future. But the experience of the last 1 or 2 years have taught us that they will not succeed.
The governor constantly talks, say,
with the parents of the 370,000 children in our school systems, with the over 20,000 teachers and education managers, we will go into the streets. We will go to every household. We'll go to everywhere children are. And they have wards and caretakers. And let them know that Edo Best must be sustained. Anybody who succeeds me or any other politician that does not prioritize education, we will throw that person out of office. Will you not? Yes. Because this is how we grew up in this state. Education was a priority. We grew up with books. But suddenly, we don't know where they came from. And they've come up with some strange order. So, in terms of sustainability, we will do everything it takes to make sure that this program is sustained. The sustainability will come from those who are benefiting from the system. The pupils themselves, you must talk about it. Let the world know the changes that have occurred in your classrooms and in your lives. Let your parents know. Let your parents talk about it in the marketplace. Let them talk about it in the petrol stations. Let them talk about it in the farms and their places of work. Teachers, talk about it outside. Because sometimes you begin to feel as if their voices are more than ours. You begin to feel as if they have more strength and presence than we do. They don't. We all own Edo State. And we have decided that Edo must move. Edo must move. So I want to thank all of you that have been part of this revolution. I call it a revolution. Walking around this room, I was shocked at just a logistic nightmare of printing almost 2 million books and the logistics of distributing across the 18 local governments of this state within the short period of time you have to do it. It's not a feat that we should take for granted. We must give accolades to those managers and teachers who worked day and night over the last few weeks to make this happen. I want to, on a final note, appeal to parents and pupils and students. Please, these items are very expensive. Your own responsibility is to use them and take care of them. Unfortunately, we don't have as much money as we used to have. Nigeria's economy is not doing as great as it used to. So we need to manage carefully what we have. make sure that these books are not trashed, make sure that they are used properly so that you can get the utmost from them.
Chairman of Edo State Universal Basic Education Board, Suburb Ozavize Salami Kontok say out of the 3.3 million books, dem don distribute 1.8 million books between 2018 and 2022 to public primary schools for the state. She constantly say today we get 1.5 million books wey we go distribute to schools across the state, and 1 million of the books go to primary schools, while over 500 go to junior secondary schools.
5 years ago, we tried to answer His Excellency's questions at the children in school, at the teachers in school, and at the teachers teaching. And based on what we've done, we put a machinery in place that provides accountability for the teachers' time and their lesson delivery. We have put learning materials, both printed and digital, in class. We've leveraged technology, and we are basically running the system on a very high monitoring and evaluation system. So pretty much we can answer those three questions. Post-COVID, the world is asking the same questions. Are children really learning, even if they are going to school? The focus is now moving from out-of-school children to what really is happening in the classrooms all over the world, and even specifically in Nigeria. In international stages now, Edo is being seen as a country, because when you have Nigeria, then you have Edo, just because of the Edo Best program, and that's what His Excellency has done for us. So every time His Excellency climbs a stage, locally or internationally, I feel a responsibility to ensure that the things he speaks about on those stages are actually true. If he says something is happening in a classroom in Edo State, it's our responsibility to ensure that that really is happening. As the world focuses now on learning outcomes, so do we at this stage in our reform. A critical part of that, or a critical component or ingredient to that, is the provision of instructional materials. Since the program started in 2018, we have delivered over 1.8 million books, printed instructional materials, across 848 primary schools. And while that is impressive enough, since last year, we took in the entire JSS schools into the program, so we have all 306 junior secondary schools in the Edo Best program. We also added on 159 schools that were not primary schools that were not in the Edo Best program under the first Edo Best 1.0. So we've brought in, I don't have the figure of the children, but we brought in additional schools and additional children into the program. Today, in this hall, you are surrounded by books that, by count, are about 1.5 million, going to all the schools that have joined the program in the last year, as well as the primary schools that need new books because of enrollment figures, or just because by the passage of times, books need to be replaced. At least 1 million books here will go to primary schools, and over 500,000 books will go to the junior secondary schools.
From Benin City, A. Carter Ojesele, TMC TV News.